What is up, guys? You got NotTheWorst here, bringing another Black Desert online video, and today we're taking a look at the newly released Dehkia Pila spot. Wondering how good is this spot, what's going on with it, what kind of money can you expect, and is it worth your time? So, first up, let's take a look at where it is if you're not familiar with the spot in general. I'm sure most people have maybe at least tried the one-shot version of this, but here it is in relation to Valencia here, pretty much all the way to the bottom right of the desert area. You can actually just use the UI to navigate here if you have either a compass, or you can buy the temporary compass off the marketplace, or you have some sealed ones from Season, and then you can just right click and go directly to the spot. So in that menu, we can take a look at what kind of drops that we get here. We see we have a couple of artifact drops, big one there, the Debo earring, of course. Sissel necklaces are fairly plentiful here. Then other items, we've got Spectre's Energy, Blackstone, BMCs, Mass, normal stuff here, Yona fragments, the treasure map piece. Notably, there are two different pieces that drop from here, one from the Sorted and one from the Iron Fist mobs that spawn here. Obviously, these ones have much higher drop rate per mob than they would in the one-shot zones, and gives you an opportunity to grind this spot instead of a 190 AP rated spot to hopefully get a little bit more bang for your buck, especially when you're burning loot scrolls. We've got Caphras in here. That's Amarni's research box, is the one next to it. That's the part of the compass. You can buy these, 3 of those, to make a temporary compass if you want to navigate. Of course, we have the soiled Sissels, Black Spirit Claws, which are actually selling really nicely after the tag event going on. The regular Traveler's map, we've got Spirit Dust Scrolls, and then the Trash Loot, of course, in there, which sells for a little bit over 30k each, and then some traces in it. So that is what we're getting for drops. As far as gear, the recommendations for it, it's 920 AP with 440 total DP, total stat numbers, of course. On it, you could get away with much less total DP, honestly. The mechanics, when we dive into those, are virtually nothing for the most part, aside from, like, don't be dumb. It's a 1000 AP cap zone with it, and it does have 2 different mob types as well. There's both human and demi-human, which is a little bit unique to what we've seen in other areas. I think the only other thing I can think of with a mix is like Dehkia Cyclops has demi-human and then the animal subtype for the gargoyles, but we focus on just demi-human there. So yeah, we actually have a mix of demi-human and human, which makes things a little bit interesting with trying to optimize your setup there. You can play around with some different gear setups and crystals and things and see what works for you best, trying to maximize that. I'll show you what I was using. So this is my gear that I'm running. Obviously, I'm hard capped as far as offensively goes. I just obviously don't have any pen falling gods defensively. So we have as much as we can squeeze as far as damage in our actual gear setup. Those are the Cabos artifacts, and I am running all-out attack Lightstone set. The demi-human one doesn't do what you want it to, because the key mob, as you'll see in the mechanics, is actually human type, and it slows down that kill, which you're not going to want. And then running the human setup isn't as appealing as AoE, because it's not going to apply to the demi-human mobs, which isn't quite as important. However, the demi-human wilds is 30, and human damage, the wilds, I think, is like 24. So it's actually lower conversion. So just running 24 flat AP, even though we're over a cap with it, along with the extra crit damage, ended up just being favorable for me. You can maybe mix and match and see what you like. Crystal setup, same idea here. It doesn't have like hardly any accuracy check, at least not at higher gear, so 0 accuracy crystals at least on a DK, or what was necessary. I didn't need any of them at all. You might on your class or with your gear setup, so you'll have to play with that and kind of check it a little bit. But that allowed us to open up a couple extra crystal slots. So you can see we put in 2 Olycus crystals here, which gives us additional human damage. But it also has attack speed on it, which is then going to apply to all mobs. So a nice little bonus to apply and not just narrow in on only the human damage. And then the one additional one I had on there as well is an RBF Viper. We put that in there to get a little extra human damage. And again, we had kind of an open crystal slot. We didn't need any dark red fang crystals here. You could run it, but since I was running an elixir rotation, I just used Elixir of Strong Shock to cover my max crit, and then didn't need that for the extra crit, and I ended up just liking that extra 10 human damage instead of 5 flat AP for that specific spot. So with that covered, let's jump on into the mechanics and kind of explain how this place works. So the mechanics for this are honestly kind of nothing. You're going to see, as far as AoEs and things to avoid that pop up, there are red AoEs. They're kind of a meme. They do nothing, as far as I can tell. They're either not going to land on you, or they're going to do 5 damage, and it's completely irrelevant. So the red AoEs do not matter. purple AoEs, as you see, do matter. These are mostly coming from this mob that's going to spawn on every pack. He is invincible most of the time. He has the little lantern symbol above his head, as you can see. He does these purple attacks with it, so they're super telegraphed. He has some that are wider than others, and most of them are multi-attacks, so he'll do the purple thing, and then the attack goes off right after the purple thing disappears, and then he does a follow-up attack as well that doesn't have a purple thing right after it, and these have a knockback effect on it. Now you can see with the crystal setup I was running, we did not bother slotting any knockback resistance because it's honestly not needed. Now maybe if you're lower geared or just really lazy and you're not paying attention to anything, you might want to consider running them, or maybe if you're just trying to learn the spot to start, that's definitely an option, but I think it's pretty superfluous once you get the hang of the spot, or you're higher geared and you just don't care. If you can survive nighttime getting chain knocked back, then you're gonna be fine. There are other mobs that spawn that have knockback effect as well, particularly the Iron Fist guys. So they're the big giant dudes that you see with the iron fists, hence the name. They do have a knockback effect as well. It is also telegraphed with purple AoE, so truly the only tricky part where you might run into dying or something is you disconnected or you're not paying any attention and you just stood there in the purple circles and got chain knocked back with a couple of iron fists, because they're the only ones that'll actually deal damage while you're knocked back. Aside from that, like I said, if you're not lower geared, you'll be able to face tank even when you screw up and get knocked back, and it won't really matter. So just kind of plan accordingly around that. So those are what the things to look out for. As far as what's actually happening is once you spawn your lantern, you get these waves of mobs. And there's a few different types of waves that happen. You'll have Iron Fist waves that come out. Those have 5 Iron Fist guys, and those drop the Iron Fist map piece for you. There's the Sorted Deportee wave, which has a little thing that pops up as well. Same idea, but it spawns 5 of the Sorted dudes, which drop the other map piece for you. Then you have the Mixed wave, where it says something about the Iron Fist dudes are crying or something like that, and that's a mixed one, so it'll have 2 and 2 on it, 2 Iron Fist and 2 Sorteds. Now the true burn down thing that you want to focus on is that guy that's invincible. He was not always, roughly every 10-ish waves, or maybe around every 2 minutes depending on clear speed or so, in that ballpark from what I could tell in the hours we did. He's going to go ahead and spawn where you can actually attack him, and it will play the stench of blood pours through the whatever on the screen, so you know he's spawning. He'll still have the Dehkia lantern icon above his head, so you know right where he's at, and he's got a purple name. So you kind of beeline for him, because the faster you kill him, the faster he can spawn again. His trash loot rolls, from what I could tell, the lowest roll I got was 63, and the highest it's probably 200. I don't think I ever got exactly 200, but in the 190 realm from there. So not as swingy as we see like the purple flame man at Dehkia Achman, for instance, that swings from 600 to 1,000, which has a huge impact on your trash loot. This one's a bit lower, but obviously you can low roll in the like 60 several times and then feel like you did a really good hour and still be lacking, you know, 500-600 at the end of it because of this sort of thing. But you want to burn him down as quickly as you can. Once you do kill him, it doesn't matter what your number of wave spawns is. He will always immediately spawn another wave with 2 more Sorteds and 2 more Iron Fists, even if you didn't clear the previous wave. Clearing a wave, by the way, in this spot, it does have a timer similar to Achman, if you're familiar with Dehkia Achman. It is a little bit quicker. The mobs pop up quite a bit quicker than that spot, so you're not standing around as much. But you will find plenty of times, if you have fast clear speed, that you're standing there waiting a few seconds for the next pack to spawn. That just doesn't apply for the extra mobs that spawn after killing the purple guy whatsoever. As far as clearing the wave is concerned, that's considered no mobs left or 2 mobs left. So you can have 1 or 2 left when you've done it, and it will go ahead and begin the trigger for the next wave, assuming the timer has gone off. But if you haven't, you're going to stand there and wait. That's just the way that it goes. Other than that, that's really it. There's no really mechanics to look out for. Like I said, you can completely ignore the red circles at virtually any gear and just don't stand in the purple ones. Or if you are standing in the purple ones, make sure you're using a protected skill at the time he does his knockback, or you iframe out and continue whatever you want setup you want to run. Just don't stand there and should be fine. So with that covered, let's check out the spreadsheet and take a look at how we did. All right, so here's our spreadsheet, and if you just want to know what the total average with everything going was, we came out at 1.685, so a little over 1.7 bill, but I want to break down a few things that are notable within that amount that kind of makes sense. So 1.685, this is with 3 Debo drops, so across 10 hours, I had 3 that dropped. 2 happened to be in 1 hour, which is kind of nuts. So I would say it's hard to pull a Debo drop rate, a true drop rate with 10 hours only logged in, Really, you'd want a much larger sample size than that, but I would be safe to say it's going to be somewhere around 3 hours. You know, if you're clearing around this trash loot speed, maybe 4 to 5 hours if you're doing a bit lower with it. As far as trash loot goes, I averaged about 26k with a peak at 27,950. And then actually, I want to point out too, this averaged is these were all done on stream, and there was a particular hour here where I was a little distracted. You can see I did 22.6 out of nowhere, and everything else is like 26, 27, some 25s in the earlier ones. I wasn't really paying attention. I forgot a few elixirs and things, and we ended up kind of screwing up some stuff, but still managed a 22.6, which I guess is fine. But hey, we make goofs when we're grinding in the real world, so we're going to make sure we record the goofs when we do it, when we're putting together the video data, a little more realistic, right? So our average comes out to 26.2 in that. Our lowest amount that we made across any hour was, of course, that handy-dandy little hour where we goofed a little bit with our buffs, so we did 1.39 in here. And then our highest, obviously, we dropped 2 debos in 1 hour, so it was 3 billion in that hour, just accounting them at 0. Notably, things that happen here, scrolls, you're dropping like 66 scrolls per hour. You can see a peak of like 81 in there, and then a lowest, I don't think anything below 50s, 54. It drops a lot of those. Unit fragments are kind of hit or miss. And then, like I said, the debos or whatever. A more interesting stat to me anyways would be if we remove the debo drop rate from it, we still come out with a 1.4 bill average, which is pretty okay-ish for that. Obviously, if you're hard cap gear, 1.4 bill is not great. And obviously, if you're not hard capped, you're not going to pull these numbers as well, because obviously your clear speed is going to be more like this 21 or 22 or something like that, rather than like 27s. So, you know, you can kind of expect that to be what you're going to be looking at without the rarity that debo drops. So my overall takeaway is this spot worth grinding? If you need the map, absolutely. It's a great spot to grind if you need to get the map. You can see I did get 1 map piece within those 10 hours. This was the Iron Fist piece. I actually still need the sorted one, so I'll be continuing this even after this video to get that done. But I wouldn't really bother if you don't need the map. If you want to grind debo earrings and you don't want to go to Olin's, you probably just go to Dehkia Akhman because the gear is much easier, clears faster, money's somewhat the same. Debo drop rate's basically the same at this spot, but the thing is, because that gear's lower, you got to remember we're working with hard cap gear in this, so I don't expect that everyone's going to be able to come in and look at like 1 every 3 hours or so here, whereas basically everyone can do that at Dehkia Akhman. So I don't recommend it for debo grinding. And if you're looking for pure money grinding, again, we're making 1.4 at hard cap. We've got plenty of other spots we can make much more money with this gear on average from it. Of course, put the debos in and it's a little bit more appealing, but you know, we still have much better options for it. So it's kind of what I think. Grind there if you need the map. Other than that, I wouldn't really bother, and that's going to be that. So we'll check out Sulfur when it comes out. It's not on NAEU just yet, so that'll get released next week, and we'll review that one. But that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you get notifications when new videos go live. And if you'd like to catch me playing live, there's a link to my Twitch page in the description down below. Jump on over there, drop a follow so you get notifications for that as well. With that said, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.